Hi, this is Scott Garibay. And today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about a contrarian idea. So I clicked on this YouTube video and it said, this is how you can get ahead of 99% of all people right away. Just do this, right? So I try lots of different creators on YouTube. I absolutely love YouTube. I use it kind of like podcast. I don't really listen to podcasts very much at all. The only podcasts I listen to anymore are ones I can't get on YouTube, right? YouTube's just so much better platform, right? And by the way, of course, I have YouTube Red, and so I don't get any ads, right? So, which I know that's might be. I don't even know what your experience is if you have ads on YouTube, because I haven't had it for years, So one, sorry if you ever. Actually, I think I have ads turned off on my stuff, so maybe yeah. All right, so yeah, so basically, there's this idea. So this guy, and so what did he say to do? And I thought this is really fascinating. He said, do three things. He said, get a contrarian idea, make sure that contrarian idea is right, execute massively on that contrarian idea. And I thought, that's fascinating, right? Because, of course, I have a very contrarian idea, right? So I believe that Gary Gygax did not create Dungeons & Dragons as a game. I think he created it as a human flourishment tool and disguised it as a game because he knew nobody ever changed the world with broccoli. You change the world with chocolate, right? And I really feel like once I came to this understanding in 2016. So I believed this for 7 years, right? And it happened when I had a massive amount of information about Gary Gygax. I knew his history. I knew the history of Dungeons and Dragons, and I came to this contrarian idea. I never crafted a contrarian idea. I believed something that no one else did, right? And it is fascinating because he said, the reason why most people don't succeed, they don't do this. Most people never have a contrarian idea. Well, I'll tell you that right now. I never have a problem having a contrarian idea. I rarely agree with the masses. Rarely, right? And he said, and even if they do, most people don't want to hold a contrarian idea because there's a cost to it, a very distinct cost. And boy, oh boy, is he right. There is a massive cost, culturally and socially, to having a contrarian idea. It's just really brutal. So it is very hard to hold a contrarian idea. And but I do have this contrarian idea. What's interesting is there was never a point where I was like, oh, I'm going to have this contrarian idea, so I'll be successful, right? And the reality is, I have not been successful at this. I really haven't been able to convince. Not one person believes what I believe, right? I've never met a person who believes what I believe, right? But the other thing I thought was really fascinating was he was like, make sure your contrarian idea is right. And I was like, that is the most ridiculous, stupidest thing I've ever heard, right? One of the most ridiculous, stupid things I've ever heard, because, dude, if you got a contrarian idea, literally, it's contrarian because literally the whole world thought about the same thing and said, nah, the other way, right? So you can't make sure your contrarian idea is right. That's that just don't happen, right? And then the last thing is execute massively on this contrarian idea. And I'll tell you, I have executed massively on my contrarian idea. I have said for 7 years, Dungeons & Dragons ain't a game, in my humble opinion. It's a human flourishment tool, right? And the reason why I continue to go down this road with this contrarian idea is, one, I do agree with this guy. I think contrarian ideas are what really change the world, right? Of course, I do think this is right? And I do, and the other thing is what allows you to have a contrarian idea? It's a vantage, right? You stand on a hill and you can see the circle in the ground, right? You can see the pattern, right? And that's really important. I feel like I was able to see this and nobody else could, because I looked at Dungeons & Dragons in a different way, right? And I was paying attention. The reason I say this and the reason I believe this is I have had massive benefits from Dungeons & Dragons in my life. So much that I was like, the idea that this was not purposely designed to benefit people seems ludicrous to me, right? I just the way it made me read, the way it made me form a new language, Scriform, where I'm constantly taking notes and talking to myself through my notes, And I think the thing that is really super precious to me is nothing I encounter, no person, no animal, no situation is uninteresting to me because I need it to build worlds. I'm a world builder. And that, you just don't see that anywhere else. There's nothing in the world that creates that the way Dungeons and Dragons does. So I thought this was really fascinating. And I think this guy is 100% right. If you want to change the world, get a contrarian idea. Or actually, wait until you have a contrarian idea, right? And then make sure you think it's right, right? That's how I would adjust it. Make sure you think that contrarian idea is right. And then execute massively on that contrarian idea. And don't stop if you fail to get success, right? That's key. That's where the rubber hits the road. And I will say this. I think there's a possibility no one will ever agree with me while I'm alive. But I definitely also, Gary speaks from the grave every day, and I've been structuring a lot of my life around what Gary Gygax did and what he does today. And I think I'm going to be able to speak from the grave as well. So I think there's going to be a legacy on Scott Garibay. And also, I'm incredible. I cannot thank you guys enough. I have 2,200 subscribers. I just reached 2,200 subscribers, and I just reached 9, and I'm coming up. I'm just a little bit shy. Within this week, I'll hit 900,000 views, and it is. I don't know if I've communicated this. It is a goal of mine to hit 1 million views on this channel, and I'm hunting. This dog is hunting, right? We're heading there, right? And I think I'll hit it this year. And I just really want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys. And I'm really appreciative of it. And I just wanted to say thank you for being so patient with my contrarian idea, right? I understand that it aggravates a lot of people, right? And I also, one of the things that really shocks me is the people who every day are like, Scott, you're wrong. See you tomorrow, right? And I appreciate your patience with me coming back, snapping back in the comments to people who are like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Because it just hurts. It hurts, when the vast majority of comments are like, you're wrong, right? But I'm a true believer that, ain't nobody changed the world doing easy stuff, right? So thank you guys for your patience, and thank you for letting me share a contrarian idea with you for 7 years. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.